You know, Felix, I've been thinking. Actually, never mind.
What? You can't say that and then not tell me. Come on, out with it.
Okay, it's just, even though you never show it, I can tell you really care about Dimitri and the others. You alright there, Felix? There's no reason to get all choked up over it.
It's your fault for saying something so ridiculous.
Hey, you're the one who asked. But it's true, isn't it? I know I'm right.
And what proof do you have?
Well, for one, you move way better when you're fighting alongside them.
That's only because I've known them so long now I can predict their every move. The boar always rushes straight into enemy lines, so I have to be ready to cover him. Of course, few can survive one of his mad dashes. But I can't just leave him alone. The man doesn't give his own safety a second thought. We don't coordinate, though. I just stick around to make sure the coast is clear for him to run wild.
Huh. But when you're fighting with Ingrid, you're usually the one who ends up charging forward.
Yes, because her Pegasus is an easy target for enemy archers. It's better for me to dash ahead first and eliminate any potential threats. Not that she's incapable of dodging an arrow or two. But she loses sight of her surroundings in the heat of battle. If she advanced before I did, a cloud of arrows would be the end of her.
Uh-huh. So then why do you always get surrounded when you're fighting with Sylvain?
Because the braggart always insists on showing off. Though if nothing else, he does have the skill to fight his way out of any bind.
Sounds like that's not part of your strategy then. But you'd still never pull it off if you didn't trust each other.
It's all natural for a soldier.
Honestly, it's impressive how well you work with everyone. I should take a page or two out of your book and learn more about the people I fight with. Maybe having a better grasp on their personalities would help me coordinate our movements better.
Who knows? You're welcome to try, at least. If you've already got a good read on me, the others shouldn't be an issue. Anyway, we're done here. Talking to you is exhausting. What's wrong? Your footwork is even sloppier than usual.
You noticed that, huh? It's nothing. There's just been a lot on my mind lately is all. And I was kinda lost in thought when you lunged at me, so I couldn't really react too well.
Training isn't the time for idle contemplation. You're worthless as a sparring partner if you let your mind wander. Not to mention that you do the same thing in actual battles. Getting distracted when you're training is one thing. Do it out there, and the enemy will cut you down without hesitation. We've been through this before. If there's something on your mind, just come out with it already.
I was just thinking you have a pretty good read on me now, too.
It was obvious something was wrong from the way you were fighting. And this is just payback for last time, so no complaining.
Oh, don't worry. I'm not.
If you say so. There's still something I don't understand, though. Where did you learn to fight like that? You clearly don't move like a knight, but I've never seen a mercenary use those techniques either.
I guess you could say I taught myself. I didn't really have one teacher who showed me everything. If anything, I just kind of picked stuff up as I moved from one band of mercs to the next.
That explains it. I was wondering why your style was so hard to read. Both knights and mercenaries use a standard set of battle-tested tactics. A book they all play by. But you're not bound to any single convention. I suppose that's what I found strange.
Probably doesn't help that I don't have to draw my sword like everyone else. When I think about it like that, it might have been for the best that I taught myself instead of subscribing to a particular school of thought.
A unique style all your own. Fascinating. Teach me.
I'd be glad to, but I'm the only one who can use my sword. It won't be easy to replicate.
That's for me to decide. If nothing else, I can adapt your moves for my own purposes. The more styles I know, the better.
If you say so. I don't know how this is gonna go, but I'll do what I can. Oh, and you can teach me in exchange. The more styles, the better, right? You fight sorta like a knight, but also sorta not. I mean that in a good way, of course. I'm not sure how to put it. It's almost like you react to the situation as it plays out. So, yeah, if we can combine our two styles somehow, I bet we'll both end up stronger for it.
Maybe so.
He's making a run for it, Felix. Don't let him get away!
Not a chance. He's mine!
Nice work out there. It's a real confidence boost knowing you have my back.
I could say the same for you. Now that I know your style better, I have less trouble predicting your movements.
Glad to hear it. Guess you must have a pretty good read on me by now, huh?
On your sword, perhaps.
There you go again. You know, I've gotten a good grasp on the way you think. It's like you decide on a role for yourself, then do whatever you can to see it through. Of course, the role changes depending on the situation and who's fighting beside you. Sometimes you attack, sometimes you defend. It's incredible just how versatile you are.
No need for compliments. That's simply how I was taught to be.
Really? By who?
My father. He may prefer a spear or magic, but he's more than capable with a sword in his hands too.
Right. Makes sense it'd be Rodrigue. His weapon of choice might be different, but he adapts himself to the flow of battle just as well as you do. Probably better, actually.
The style didn't start with him, though. It's something the leaders of our house have passed down throughout the ages. House Fraldarius has been the king's lance and shield for generations. Ever since the time of Kaifin, sworn friends of the great King Lu. At times, we've been sent to defeat the crown's enemies. At others, we've held back to defend the throne. I admit the style has its uses, idiotic history of blind faith aside.
Huh. So that's why you fight the way you do. You're indispensable, Felix. Not just to Dimitri, but to everyone else, too.
I suppose if I'm a lance and shield, you would be like some kind of projectile, an arrow or a stone.
You're saying I'm good at taking the enemy by surprise, right? You sure could learn to be more direct with your compliments, you know?
You can interpret it that way if you want. In any case, you're just as important to this army as I am. Between that sword of yours and the way you can shapeshift, nobody ever knows what you'll do next. Some might say your powers are dangerous, but I think they provide the perfect element of surprise.
Huh. Glad to hear you say so.
There's one fault I can't get past, though. You can never stay focused during battle. It's almost like you're talking to someone while you fight. Someone in your head that... Hey, what's with the smile?
Huh? Oh, sorry. I'm just really happy we've gotten to know each other so well. Only a true friend would be that open with their criticism. Thanks, Felix.
Say what you will. That's the last piece of advice I'm ever giving you.
He wasn't really mad, was he? It's so hard to tell sometimes.
You know, Felix, I've been thinking. Actually, never mind.
What? You can't say that and then not tell me. Come on, out with it.
I don't know, I really shouldn't. Just forget I said anything.
Is your conscience getting in the way? Say it.
Okay, it's just... Even though you never show it, I can tell you really care about Dimitri and the others. You all right there, Felix? There's no reason to get all choked up over it.
It's your fault for saying something so ridiculous.
Hey, you're the one who asked. But it's true, isn't it? I know I'm right.
And what proof do you have?
Well, for one, you move way better when you're fighting alongside them.
That's only because I've known them so long now I can predict their every move. The boar always rushes straight into enemy lines, so I have to be ready to cover him. Of course, few can survive one of his mad dashes. But I can't just leave him alone. The man doesn't give his own safety a second thought. We don't coordinate, though. I just stick around to make sure the coast is clear for him to run wild.
Huh. But when you're fighting with Ingrid, you're usually the one who ends up charging forward.
Yes, because her Pegasus is an easy target for enemy archers. It's better for me to dash ahead first and eliminate any potential threats. Not that she's incapable of dodging an arrow or two. But she loses sight of her surroundings in the heat of battle. If she advanced before I did, a cloud of arrows would be the end of her.
Uh-huh. So then why do you always get surrounded when you're fighting with Sylvain?
Because the braggart always insists on showing off. Though if nothing else, he does have the skill to fight his way out of any bind.
Sounds like that's not part of your strategy then. But you'd still never pull it off if you didn't trust each other.
It's all natural for a soldier.
You know, I'm kinda jealous. Is that how things are when you've known someone your whole life?
Don't ask me. You could reach the same conclusions about their combat tendencies in just a few battles. If you've already got a good read on me, the others shouldn't be an issue. Anyway, we're done here. Talking to you is exhausting. What's wrong? Your footwork is even sloppier than usual.
You noticed that, huh? It's nothing. There's just been a lot on my mind lately is all. And I was kinda lost in thought when you lunged at me, so I couldn't really react too well.
Training isn't the time for idle contemplation. You're worthless as a sparring partner if you let your mind wander. Not to mention that you do the same thing in actual battles. Getting distracted when you're training is one thing. Do it out there, and the enemy will cut you down without hesitation. We've been through this before. If there's something on your mind, just come out with it already.
Nope, nothing to say this time. I promise.
If you say so. There's still something I don't understand, though. Where did you learn to fight like that? You clearly don't move like a knight, but I've never seen a mercenary use those techniques either.
I guess you could say I taught myself. I didn't really have one teacher who showed me everything. If anything, I just kind of picked stuff up as I moved from one band of mercs to the next.
That explains it. I was wondering why your style was so hard to read. Both knights and mercenaries use a standard set of battle-tested tactics, a book they all play by. But you're not bound to any single convention. I suppose that's what I found strange.
Probably doesn't help that I don't have to draw my sword like everyone else. When I think about it like that, it might have been for the best that I taught myself instead of subscribing to a particular school of thought.
A unique style all your own. Fascinating. Teach me.
I'd be glad to, but I'm the only one who can use my sword. It won't be easy to replicate.
That's for me to decide. If nothing else, I can adapt your moves for my own purposes. The more styles I know, the better.
Trust me, it's not worth it. Nothing I do is special enough to pass on to someone else.
Fine, then keep training with me instead. If you don't want to teach me, I'll just have to steal your moves myself.
I'd like to see you try. But no, I'll be stealing yours right back. You fight sorta like a knight, but also sorta not. I mean that in a good way, of course. I'm not sure how to put it. It's almost like you react to the situation as it plays out. So, yeah. If we can combine our two styles somehow, I bet we'll both end up stronger for it.
Maybe so.
He's making a run for it, Felix! Don't let him get away!
Not a chance. He's mine!
Nice work out there. It's a real confidence boost knowing you have my back.
I could say the same for you. Now that I know your style better, I have less trouble predicting your movements.
Glad to hear it. Guess you must have a pretty good read on me by now, huh?
On your sword, perhaps.
There you go again. You know, I've gotten a good grasp on the way you think. It's like you decide on a role for yourself, then do whatever you can to see it through. Of course, the role changes depending on the situation and who's fighting beside you. Sometimes you attack, sometimes you defend. It's incredible just how versatile you are.
No need for compliments. That's simply how I was taught to be.
Really? By who?
My father. He may prefer a spear or magic, but he's more than capable with a sword in his hands too.
Right. Makes sense it'd be Rodrigue. His weapon of choice might be different, but he adapts himself to the flow of battle just as well as you do. Probably better, actually.
The style didn't start with him, though. It's something the leaders of our house have passed down throughout the ages. House Fraldarius has been the king's lance and shield for generations, ever since the time of Kyphon, sworn friend of the great King Lugh. At times, we've been sent to defeat the crown's enemies. At others, we've held back to defend the throne. I admit the style has its uses, idiotic history of blind faith aside.
Huh. So that's why you fight the way you do. You're indispensable, Felix. Not just to Dimitri, but to everyone else, too.
I suppose if I'm a lance and shield, you would be like some kind of projectile, an arrow or a stone.
Wait, is that supposed to be a compliment? What's that even mean?
Do you need me to draw you a picture? You're always coming out of nowhere and throwing the enemy off guard. Between that sword of yours and the way you can shapeshift, nobody ever knows what you'll do next. Some might say your powers are dangerous, but I think they provide the perfect element of surprise.
Huh. Glad to hear you say so.
There's one fault I can't get past, though. You can never stay focused during battle. It's almost like you're talking to someone while you fight. Someone in your head that... Hey, what's with the smile?
Huh? Oh, sorry. I'm just really happy we've gotten to know each other so well. Only a true friend would be that open with their criticism. Thanks, Felix.
Say what you will. That's the last piece of advice I'm ever giving you.
He wasn't really mad, was he? It's so hard to tell sometimes.
How long are you going to keep staring blankly like an idiot? You should eat.
You're right. My apologies.
Let me guess, you're in a tizzy about how best to make use of the Church's forces. Or maybe you're just worried about how our forces will survive the winter. Well, knock it off. A good leader knows when to let their vassals do the worrying for them.
Is that why you left your uncle in charge of House Fraldarius?
Yes. Though I've been returning to the territory the moment any issues arise with his governance.
And your mother? Is she in good health? I imagine it's difficult to manage all the family squabbles on her own.
Oh, she's fine. She's good at that sort of thing. I actually think she likes it. I suggest you focus on your own issues for once, instead of worrying about everyone else.
I'm not sure that's possible. Oh, but that does remind me. I hear the Knights wanted to hold a joint training session.
Forget it. You'll never change. I'd tell you to stop brooding so much, but I'd be wasting my breath.
I cannot afford to lose this war, Felix. I must protect the kingdom. I must avenge the fallen. Each day, we draw ever closer to those who pulled the actual strings. I've already punished any who knew of the plan and did nothing, as well as a number of middle-rank conspirators. But it isn't enough. There are still those who must answer for this crime with their lives.
You are a book with one chapter and no ending. What will you do when you actually have this revenge of yours?
I don't know. But if I can quell their grief and their hate, it will be enough. Do you hate me, Felix? After all, I saw Glenn die. I watched it and could do nothing. His end lies on my shoulders.
That's enough. I don't hate you, okay? You weren't responsible for any of that. They didn't die for your sake. They made their own choices of their own free will. Don't be so conceited.
But surely they didn't want to die. Yet they did so to protect me. Me. I am undeserving of such sacrifice.
I told you to quit brooding and eat. Your food's going to rot if you wait any longer.
Yes, of course. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but I swear I will avenge you. Please, just wait a little longer. I will uncover who drove you to your deaths, no matter the cost.
Dimitri.
Glenn... Oh, Felix. It's you. I'm sorry you had to see that.
After 20 years, I've seen all of you there is to see. Everyone else is asleep. You know that, right? So why are you locked up here in the chapel? Also, what's with the mumbling?
I suppose there's little sense in hiding it from you. I suffer from a kind of waking dream. I see them. I see the people who died on that day. At all hours, light and dark. If the Empire was involved in that incident, if the Emperor stood by and gave tacit consent, and give to them the same end, gouge out their hearts and cleave their heads from their shoulders. Those are the words the dead scream at me.
When did this start?
It's been 6 years. But I began hearing their voices 4 years ago, during my first battle. I recognized the enemy general as a man I had seen in Dusker. When I removed his head, the voices cheered. They laughed. It was as if a terrible pain had finally been lifted from them.
I think I get what's happening here. Look, do you really think your father and Glenn and everyone else would be torturing you like that? You're the one who's doing this, Dimitri. Not them. You.
Even if that were true, I can never forgive myself.
Believe me, I know. But it's your job to lead. If you lose your path, you'll take everyone else down with you. So try to keep that whole removing their heads thing in check, yeah? We can just call it our little secret.
Well then, are you offering to let me unburden my heart to you when the time calls for it? You're the only reason I haven't descended into utter savagery, you know. So just as Lug had Kaifon, and my father had Rodrigue, I would ask that you continue to be my right-hand man.
Right-hand man, huh? I like the sound of that.
What are you doing?
As your new right-hand man, my first act is to haul my restless king back to bed where he belongs.
This is absurd. My feet are dragging on the floor.
It's your own fault for being so tall, you sack of muscle.
Say, do you remember how I once carried you in this way when you twisted your ankle?
Yeah, turns out lugging folks around is good training. So just cram it and let me finish my workout already.
Yes, of course. Please, carry on. Now then, I'd like to hear opinions on the proposed tactics. Personally, I believe it best to gather our forces and attack the stronghold directly, but...
Of course the boar wants to rush in headlong. Using a small force to take out the enemy's base of operations is a far better idea. Do you have something to say? Or are you just going to stand there glaring at me?
I have nothing to add, no.
So you're saying you have no thoughts on it whatsoever? You don't even agree or disagree? Just purely, blissfully neutral?
Enough, Felix. Leave Dedue be and tell me more about this idea of yours.
We don't need to kick down the front door here. Sneaking in with a small force and burning their food stores will be more than enough.
Interesting. We'd miss a chance to loot their supplies, but it would free up our main force for other matters. Still, it won't be easy to slip past their patrols. I'd best take my personal troops and...
Allow me to take on the role. I trust that'll be satisfactory.
Right then. Now that we've solidified our strategy, let's break for a bit.
Okay, what is your problem? You've been giving me that look ever since we came in here. You clearly have something on your mind, so spit it out.
It's good to have you with us.
Huh?
Few can debate His Majesty without hesitation or ill intent. Our war council proceeded smoothly as a result.
You make me sound like some kind of troublemaker. I don't disagree just for the thrill of it, you know.
You don't say.
Dimitri's always had a reckless streak. Who knows what kind of mess he'd drag us into if someone wasn't around to stop him. The guy would gladly throw his life away for someone else, given half the chance.
You have a point.
His death would mean the destruction of both Fargus and the Church. So when I try to protect him, what I'm really doing is protecting the kingdom.
Spoken like the shield of Fargus.
What's with the smile? I told you, if you've got something to say, just say it.
I know you spoke up for my sake as well. I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, well, just doing what's expected. I mean, we're, you know, brothers in arms and all that.
Apologies for the wait. I trust we're ready to reconvene? You two seem to be having a lively discussion. May I ask what it was about?
Of course, Your Majesty. Felix was just saying...
I was saying how much of a fool you are. Now come. We have more important things to discuss.
Felix, what are you doing here?
I had business in the capital. Speaking of, I hear you're that boar's knight now.
Or... Oh, you mean His Majesty.
Yeah, him. You must have it rough with a tiresome man like that leading you.
I think you're exaggerating, Felix. I wouldn't call him that at all. In fact, he even does our jobs for us sometimes.
See, that's exactly why he's such a problem. You should steal your job back from him once in a while. Use force if you have to.
Felix, are you?
Anyway, the castle has certainly changed in the past, 2 years since he took over? For one thing, there are many more commoners among the knights.
You have a good eye to notice that. But yes, His Majesty says there are pros and cons to it. For example, knights from noble families tend to be more polite and respectful. There were a lot of scuffles and misunderstandings in the beginning, but things seem to be calming down now.
And which are you, noble or commoner? You became a knight on Lord Lenato's recommendation, right?
Yeah, my situation is kind of strange. I'm almost stuck right in the middle. Still, I feel like there are things only I can do precisely because I don't fit into either box. But whenever I'm in real trouble, His Majesty and Dedue always come to my aid. So that's good.
Dedue as well, huh?
Yep, even the knights accept him as one of us now. No one's a better cook or more skilled with their hands. And he's a proper demon on the battlefield to boot. I hope to be more like him someday.
Please, no. One of him is more than enough. Especially that blind loyalty. Imitate that and you'll only end up throwing away your life on the battlefield.
Oh, are you worried about us? That's sweet, Felix. I always had the impression you cared for your friends, and now I know I'm right.
Excuse me?
I mean, sure, the things you say are pretty harsh, but you can't bring yourself to actually abandon someone. You always show so much concern for me, and for To-Do, and even for His Majesty.
Yeah, well, it'd be more work for me if anything happened to you, that's all. I'm busy enough as it is. Can't afford to take on more issues.
Well then, I'll do my best not to add to your problems.
I doubt you'll need to try that hard. You do a decent enough job of supporting folks already. So, keep up the good work and maybe I'll lend you a hand someday. You know, if you need it.
Thanks, Felix. I'll be counting on you.
What were you thinking? Sticking your nose into some soldier's fight? You have a lot of growing up to do if you're still throwing yourself in the middle of random brawls like that. Keep this up, and House Fraldarius' reputation will be rolling in the mud with you. Not to mention how it reflects poorly on His Majesty, considering he's the one who made you a duke.
I know all that.
Do you? Because you don't look like a man who's achieved some fantastic new enlightenment.
This is rich coming from you. I liked it better when you used to take the heat.
Are you kidding? You were always the one being scolded when we were kids.
Only because you were a half-wit who kept dragging me into your ludicrous schemes.
Was that how it was? Now, whatever you say. But tell me, what's got you swinging your fists around this time?
Nothing specific. I just couldn't back down after getting involved.
You really need to start being more careful. Look, you've even got a bruise going. Who knows what would happen to Fargus if we lost you?
I won't say you'd be fine without me, but you do know I could fall in battle any day now, right?
Bite your tongue, Felix. Just think for 2 seconds. What would happen to Fargus? And to His Majesty if you died? He's got too much on his plate already, yet he insists on doing everything himself. War with the Empire, battles outside Fodlan, governing the kingdom, reforming the entire social structure of pretty much everything. If he didn't have you at his side, he'd fall flat on his face.
You speak as though you have no stake in this whatsoever. We're in the same situation. One of these days, you'll inherit the title of Margrave Gautier. Are you ready for that?
I know. Trust me, I am very well aware. Which is why I always act with the utmost integrity.
You're the complete opposite of integrity. Though I suppose you have been attempting to shake some of your old habits recently.
You know, it wouldn't kill you to pat me on the back every once in a while.
You're like a baby that just learned to walk. A pat on the back would only knock you over. You can try to make up for your past actions all you want, but that kind of thing isn't easily swept aside. The sooner you realize that, the better.
That tongue of yours is sharp as ever, I see. Never change, Felix.
I guess I was a touch reckless this time. As much as I hate to admit it. So I'll give you that much.
There you are, Felix. Why didn't you tell me?
Tell you what?
About the fight you got into the other day with those soldiers.
Oh, that. Don't worry, I won't do it again.
One of my men told me the whole story of what actually went down. Apparently, one of your soldiers was mocking the heir of House Gautier, who just so happens to be me. And he started getting into it with everyone else, which is when you decided to jump in.
Worst decision of my life. But like I said, I'm done with all that. I only stepped in because I thought it was my responsibility to make my men see sense. But my fists tend to move faster than my brain, as I'm sure you know.
I'm very well aware. Still, I'm curious why you didn't tell me everything right away.
Because he said some really nasty stuff about you. I didn't want your delicate ears dropping off in horror.
Okay, now I'm even more curious. Anyway, sorry for tearing into you without knowing the full story.
No, I'm the one who should apologize. I can't let personal life influence business, even if it does concern you.
You shouldn't worry about it. People speaking poorly about me is something of a regular occurrence. And honestly, I deserve every last bit of it. I was a real scoundrel in my younger days. Caused a whole lot of people a whole lot of headaches. That kind of talk isn't your fault or your soldier's fault. The blame lies squarely with the man I used to be.
So, why didn't you do something about that man when you were younger?
It was just... I had to be that way, you know? I had to play the part of the flippant, carefree rogue because... Anyway, look, I know I'm a real piece of work, but that's just me being me.
Fine. Perhaps you do deserve to be made fun of. But I still won't stand it coming from a bunch of curs who don't know a single thing about you. You may not have the title of Margrave yet, but you still make yourself pretty useful. I've seen how you've helped the boar, and I guess you help me too.
Wow, Felix, that's... Wow. Oh boy, I think someone's cutting onions in here.
Be quiet. Can't you listen to someone for 2 seconds without opening your fat mouth and completely ruining the moment? You always have been too smart and too loud for your own good, even if no one can match you in military tactics or domestic affairs. And so like you said, we've got problems piling up both inside and out of the kingdom. But with you around, we might just be able to see our way clear of it.
That's a lot of problems to pile on one person, especially when he isn't half as great as you're implying. I mean, I might be, say, 7% more cunning than you, but that's pretty much it. If we really want to be useful to Fargus and Dimitri, we need to work together, so we can balance out each other's weaknesses.
I suppose that's true. In which case, I guess I'm counting on you. I may even need you. Maybe. Besides, I'd be stuck with nothing but miserably dour folks without you around. I'm not sure I could handle it.
You don't have to tell me twice, old friend. I'll always be there for you. I promise.
Mercedes. Good. I need your help.
Felix? Why do you have a cat?
Picked it up?
Yes, I can see that, but... Oh no! Its little leg is hurt! Here, let me have it. I may be able to heal it with magic. There. It should be fine now.
Thanks. Sorry for the trouble.
Oh, it's no trouble at all. Though I must admit, you're the last person I expected to bring me an injured kitten. It reminds me of how my little brother once took in a cat when we were young.
Would that little brother of yours be Professor Yuritsa?
Yes. This was a long time ago, when we both still lived with House Bartels. My brother took in an injured cat, and after it healed, it began living in the mansion. We did our best to feed it secretly so it wouldn't be discovered.
Secretly? What's the big deal with one little furball?
We couldn't let anyone find out no matter what. The people in that house were horrid. Had they learned of the cat, they would have put it in a sack and tossed it in the river. Eventually, my mother and I left House Bartels and never looked back, though we left my brother behind. Still, I've always wondered what happened to that poor little cat.
Animals are smart enough. If the thing felt threatened, it would have taken off.
I suppose you're right.
Anyway, now that you've fixed the cat, I should bring it back to where I found it.
Are you sure? It's clearly taken a shine to you.
Yeah, but I can't keep it. The thing's practically a kitten. What if it has parents that, I don't know, miss it?
Yes, I suppose returning it would be best.
All right, go. Shoo! Come on, get out of here already. Stop rubbing my legs. What is it? You want food? Well, I don't have any.
Ah, that cat really likes him. Animals clearly understand when a kind soul comes to their aid.
Mercedes, do something. This cat won't stop following me.
I'm sorry, but there isn't anything I can do. You'll have to wait until it feels like going home. Goodness, really? Having a cat like you is a good thing. My little brother has always loved cats, but recently they won't come near him, and it just breaks his heart.
I do not understand that man, but regardless, that's not the issue.
Well, so long as you're stuck waiting, we may as well get comfortable and have a nice chat.
Annette, how does that song about the dancing swamp beasties end?
It wasn't swamp beasties, it was bears. A song about dancing swamp beasties wouldn't be nearly as cute.
It was supposed to be cute? Anyway, I'd never heard a song like that before, and now I can't get it out of my head.
Wait, really? Wow, I'm flattered. But it's not like I can make up the rest of it on the spot. Why don't you go see an opera or something? Get a better song stuck up in there.
Yeah, I don't know. Guess I've been interested in seeing an opera in the past, but I've never gone.
Now that you mention it, I don't know if they even perform opera in Fargus. But the church is in Camulus now, and they have volunteers who put on operas every now and then. I've been helping Dorothea and the others there, and it's really expanded my repertoire of songs.
Well then, sing one for me. Just belt out whatever pops into your head.
You got it. I'll sing you my favorite. Me, me, me. A shimmering life burns down to ash. Then since I'm all hot and sweaty, I hop in the bath. Soon I get real dizzy, which puts me in a tizzy. But eventually I feel way, 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 way better. So I decide to hop back in the bath again. Whew.
Huh. You take baths when you're already hot? That's some impressive fortitude. I think I underestimated you.
Oh.
Wait, but then you get back in the bath even though it made you dizzy. You must seriously love bathing. Well, this has been fascinating. I had no idea operas could have such unexpected developments.
Operas aren't like that at all. That's just an aria I learned a long time ago, and I don't even really remember the words. It wasn't supposed to be a song about taking a bath. It was supposed to be serious.
Wait, really? That's much less interesting.
No, you don't... Look, a real opera is much better, all right? I'll take you to one sometime, and you'll see. It'll take your breath away when you hear it. I bet you'll fall head over heels in love.
Fine. But let's save it until the war's over. If it's really that good, I want to make sure I give it my full attention.
Then we're definitely going to see an opera. It's a promise. My apologies, Felix. Am I getting in the way of your work?
No, I just finished up. What do you need?
I picked this up on the training grounds. I think it might be yours.
Hey, that's my brother's spur. I thought I'd lost it.
I ran around asking all the knights who it belonged to. The royal crest made it seem important. You really should take better care of it. Didn't Glenn receive this as a gift from the late king?
Yup.
Don't shrug me off like that. I am surprised. You never struck me as the type to keep such a memento with you.
Guess I thought it might come in handy someday.
Whatever you say. Just make sure you don't misplace it again.
Ingrid. Wait,
Yes?
you should have it.
Excuse me? Absolutely not. I could never accept something so precious.
When my brother was appointed by the king, who do you think he told first? It wasn't me or my father. It was you. So take it.
But
If you want the truth, I always planned to give it to you anyway. I just never found the right time.
Well, if you insist, then I accept. Thank you, Felix.
But don't get the wrong idea. I'm not doing this so you can go drown yourself in grief.
Oh, I am very much aware. I know full well how much you detest such displays of sentimentality. I should get going. I have a meeting to attend. Farewell, Felix.
Finished giving your report?
Yes. I hope you were not waiting too long. Did you need me for something?
Need is a strong word. I just wanted to commend you. I heard that last fight was brutal, but you made it out alive.
None of us expected it to evolve into such an arduous battle. We were only supposed to be dealing with some bandits.
So you weren't injured?
I'm fine. So is everyone else in the unit, thankfully. Though even in the darkest moments, I never lost hope. All thanks to this.
My brother's spur. You're telling me that hunk of steel helped you?
Perhaps not in a practical sense, but it certainly bolstered my spirits. This spur symbolizes Glenn's pride and sense of duty, things he fought for to his dying breath. I couldn't very well give up while I carried something with that much meaning. It gave me the courage to keep fighting.
I don't get it. It's all well and good to remember the dead, but sentimentality will get you killed. All the tears in the world couldn't bring them back after all.
You have always viewed the world in such stark terms. It might even be one of your strengths. But one day, you will learn that emotions and sentimentality are also a strength, not a curse.
So the dead can help the living? Interesting idea.
Can we continue this later? I think I have earned a good night's sleep.
Ingrid, wait. Will you do something for me?
I'm listening.
Go visit my brother. This war shows no signs of stopping, which means you have plenty of battles ahead of you. And if you're so certain the dead can help the living, it couldn't hurt to offer him some flowers.
You want me to go to Glenn's? I mean, of course. But you should join me, and perhaps His Majesty as well. And even Lord Rodrigue, Sylvain, Sir Gustav, everyone.
Are you planning to host an entire banquet at his gravestone?
That was not my original intention, but now that you mention it, a festive meal might be nice. We could all use a little relaxation, and Glenn always preferred a joyous atmosphere to a somber one.
Fine, just don't die before then, okay? Anyway, I'm keeping you. Go get something to eat and get some rest.
I will do just that. Thank you, Felix.
Hey.
What kind of greeting is that? I gave you my title, not free license for insolence.
Spare me the lecture. I have a question about the lords of Southern Fraldaria's territory.
So you're having trouble with them as well, are you? Let me guess. They're withholding provisions. Or perhaps they refuse to send troops they promised.
How did you know?
Because I've been through the same thing with them any number of times.
Southern soldiers are unskilled, but they make up for it with sheer numbers. I need their cooperation, yet they refuse to negotiate. And I have no idea how to convince them.
Yes. I imagine they're dealing with their own issues.
And what issues would those be?
When they refused to send reinforcements for the invasion of Sreng, it was because the lords were embroiled in a succession dispute. If one house sent soldiers, the others would pounce on the opportunity to move against them. But mere letters could never have told you something like that.
So you went around to each territory personally?
Yes. Though considering we're presently on war footing, doing so now would be unwise.
Well, that's hardly helpful, but I'll take it into consideration and see what I can do. Something funny?
Just thinking that you've grown into a fine duke.
Were you expecting me to fail? You're the one who gave me the title, after all.
True. But I inherited the role when I was much older than you. You're doing extremely well for your age. It seems I raised two very capable sons.
Don't tell me you're glorifying Glenn's death again.
Felix.
I've been walking in your footsteps, serving our king and leading an army of knights. After all that, I thought maybe I'd come to understand you a bit better. But I still can't stomach what you said that day.
Looks like I overstepped yet again. Perhaps the two of us will never see eye to eye. If Glenn were alive, I half suspect he'd say I was being childish. Sit down, Felix.
Can we make this quick? I'm busy.
For once, would you please just... No, not today. The truth is, I think it's time we sat down and talked. Neither of us know which day could be our last, so we should both ensure there's no lingering regret when the time comes.
Well, this is off to a grim start. So, what is it you want to talk about?
I wanted to apologize for what I said about Glenn. It was ill put, and I'm sorry. I should never have said such a thing in your presence.
If you're going to explain yourself, I suppose I can make the time to hear you out.
Thank you. Then I will not mince words. I too was mortified by Glenn's death. Yet he perished a hero. He chose that life for himself, and he chose that death. He fought to protect the future of Fargus and his friend, until his dying breath. As his father, I felt I had to acknowledge that choice.
And how are you so sure it was his choice? Neither of us really knows what he was thinking. The boar might have an inkling, but all he goes on about is how he caused Glenn's death.
You're right. I don't know for certain. But I know what I would have done had I been there. And you, Felix? What would your choice have been? Would you have abandoned His Majesty to save yourself? Or would you have chosen to fight until death claimed you? I myself would have safeguarded His Majesty at all costs. I know that it wasn't in Glenn's nature to flee either.
It's always about courage or cowardice with you. I wouldn't have chosen anything. When your life's on the line, you don't have time to think about that stuff. Only act. I would have fought with my own will, in whatever way I thought best. And I would have made sure we both survived.
You always want to have it both ways. Still, I take pride in that determination of yours. Had I been there, I doubt I could have summoned the resolve to strive for such a victory. More likely, I would have been satisfied merely to die in the defense of my liege.
I can understand that way of thinking. In fact, I always have. But I still couldn't stomach Glenn's death being glorified.
And I'm sorry for that, Felix. Truly.
It's all right. And I'm glad we talked. Also, you said we shouldn't leave regrets behind, so... I'm sorry too. for hitting you back then, I mean. I'm sorry, Father.
You know, I'd almost forgotten about that. It hurt, too. More than any blow I've received in battle.
Oh, shut up. I said I was sorry. Now, if we're done here, I'm leaving. Go ahead.
Oh boy! But wait, if I eat that, what are you gonna eat?
I'll buy something from one of the merchants outside.
But that costs money! This is my second helping. Or maybe third. I can't remember. Anyway, if anyone's gonna be paying for extra food, it should be me.
In that case, I'll take you up on... Wait, was that thunder?
Nope. Just my stomach. Sorry to scare you. I tell you, I can't wait for this war to be over so I can eat as much as I want.
Look, skipping a full portion won't kill me. Why don't you take half?
Wow! You mean it? Thanks a bunch, meat buddy.
Meat buddy? Wait, is that me?
Yeah, you love it as much as I do. So that makes us meat buddies.
Whatever you say.
Hey, I've got an idea. If there isn't enough to go around, we should go hunting. That way everyone can have their fill.
That's actually not a bad idea.
I know! Come on, we'll hit up the nearby forest. Petra says there's a ton of game there.
Just so happens I have some free time on my hands. So let me finish my lunch and I'll be ready.
All right! Meat buddies are unstoppable!
Wait, you forgot your food! He really is something.
Hey, Felix! Want to go work out?
Quiet! I'll give away my position.
Oops, sorry. Didn't realize you were hunting. I'll just back off and, Whoa, look at that! I've never seen a boar that big. If we take it down, we'll eat like kings! Kings, I tell you!
Hang on, you don't just rush into a fight against a beast like that. You need the proper equipment.
Ah, don't worry. Petra taught me a special technique. Now lead the way, meat buddy!
All right, fine. Anyway, as I was saying, if we aren't adequately prepared, we'll be the ones who end up as someone's dinner. Boars are naturally cautious beasts, but this one also appears to be wounded. If it spots us, it'll charge and send us to an early grave.
Wait, have you fought one of these before?
Years ago, but yes. It managed to get away, though.
Wow! It must have been one heck of a beast if even you had trouble taking it down.
House Blathid and House Fraldarius used to go on hunting trips together. On one trip, a certain prince bagged so many animals it proved impossible to fit them all on the sled. Meanwhile, I went off hunting on my own, encountered the boar, Barely escaped with my life.
Wait, why would Dimitri want to kill you? Or do you mean like an actual boar?
While this may not be the same boar, I will get no small amount of satisfaction if we manage to bring it down.
Hold on, who are we talking about here? Whatever. Let's do this thing!
I'll share the spoils with you, but the kill is mine. Now stand back.
Wait, but if you take it on by yourself, won't you just lose again?
What did you say?
Haven't you heard that 2 fists are better than 1? Or, I guess it'd be 4 fists are better than 2.
I'm not confident even that will be enough, but fine. I suppose adding more fists to the mix never hurt anyone. Curses, it spotted us. Nothing for it now. Come on, Raphael.
Come at me, boar. I'll punch you so hard the chef won't even need to tenderize you.
Don't attack it head on, fool! Circle around to the rear!
Yeah! We did it!
I can't believe we took it down so quickly.
Told you this was a 4-fist job!
I guess you did. Maybe there's something to this whole working with friends thing after all.
Aww, you called me your friend. Took you long enough.
Cram it. We need help carrying this back, so let's go find some extra hands.
Felix, wait up!